felt the familiar emptiness pressing down on my chest. I tried to ignore it like I always did. I closed my eyes. I waited for sleep to come, but it did not come. Instead, something else came. I do not know what time it was when I felt the change in the room. I had not fallen asleep yet. I was lying there with my eyes closed, trying to quiet my mind. And then suddenly the air felt different, heavier, charged, like the atmosphere before a thunderstorm. I opened my eyes and sat up in bed. The room was dark, but not completely dark. There was a faint glow coming from somewhere I could not identify. At first I thought maybe I had left a light on somewhere, but the glow was getting brighter. It was coming from the corner of my bedroom near the window, a soft white light that seemed to pulse and grow. My heart started racing. I reached for the lamp on my bedside table, but my hand froze. I could not move, not because I was paralyzed, but because something inside me said, "Do not move. Just watch. Just wait." So I sat there in my bed, watching the light grow brighter and brighter until it filled the entire corner of the room. And then I saw him, a figure standing in the light, a man dressed in white robes that seemed to glow from within. His face was shining so bright I could not look directly at it, but I could see enough to know that this was not a dream. This was not my imagination. This was real. Someone was standing in my bedroom, someone who had not come through the door. I should have been terrified. I should have shouted for my guards. I should have grabbed the pistol I kept in my drawer, but I did not do any of those things. I just sat there frozen, staring at this figure. And then he spoke. His voice was not loud, but it filled the entire room. It filled my entire being. He spoke in Farsi, perfect Farsi. He said, "Hassan," just my name. But the way he said it was unlike anything I had ever heard. It was not harsh or demanding like the voices of my commanders. It was not cold or distant like the voice of the imams at the mosque. It was warm, it was tender. It was like he had known me my entire life, like he cared about me in a way no one ever had. I tried to speak, came out. My throat was tight. My mouth was dry. I just stared at him, and then he spoke again. He said, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me. I knew immediately who he was. Those words were from the Christian book, the Bible, the Angel. I had heard them before in intelligence briefings when we discussed Christian propaganda, but hearing them now in my bedroom spoken by this figure of light, everything was different. I knew who was standing in front of me. This was Isa. This was Jesus, the one Christians worshipped, the one I had despised my entire life. I wanted to reject it. I wanted to tell him to leave. I wanted to reach for my Quran and rebuke him in the name of Allah. But I could not, because the presence radiating from him was too powerful, too overwhelming, too real. I had prayed to Allah 5 times a day for 60 years and never once felt anything like this. I had gone to mosques and listened to sermons and recited prayers and never once experienced the kind of presence that was filling my room right now. This was not ritual. This was not religion. This was something alive. Something that saw me. Something that knew me. I fell out of my bed onto my knees on the floor, not because anyone told me to, but because I could not stay sitting. The holiness in that room was too much. I pressed my forehead to the ground and I started to shake. I was terrified, but not the kind of terror that makes you want to run. The kind of terror that comes when you realize you have been wrong about everything. When you realize you have spent your entire life worshiping the wrong God. When you realize that the truth you rejected is standing right in front of you and you have no excuse left. Jesus spoke again, but he said, Hassan, you have served the wrong master your whole life. You have worn the uniform of men who call themselves servants of God, but who serve only themselves. You have participated in evil while calling it righteousness. You have oppressed my people while thinking you were protecting your faith. But I did not come to condemn you. I came to call you out. I came to set you free. I came to give you what you have been searching for, even though you did not know you were searching. Every word he spoke felt like a sword cutting through me, but not to kill, to heal, to remove the lies I had believed, to strip away the false identity I had built. I stayed on the floor, unable to move, unable to speak. And then he said something that changed everything. He said, I am sending you to Lebanon. You will leave Iran. You will leave your position. You will leave everything behind. And you will go to Lebanon. I will show you what to do when you arrive. Trust me and obey. I finally found my voice. I said, why Lebanon? What do you want me to do there? But even as I asked, I knew the answer did not matter. I knew I was going to obey. Because something inside me had already surrendered. Something inside me had already broken. Jesus stepped closer. I still could not look at his face because of the light, but I felt him near me. He said, you will understand when the time comes. I am sending you there to save my people. The connections you have made, the people you know, the position you hold, I will use all of it for my purposes. Nothing is wasted, Hassan. Even the years you spent serving darkness, I will redeem. But you must leave. You must obey. And you must trust me. Then he showed me something. A vision within the vision. I saw the Christians. Their hands were bound. They were in a dark room. I could hear them praying. I could hear them crying. And then I saw a face I recognized. Khalil Mansour. My contact in Hezbollah. He was standing over these Christians. And I knew somehow, that this was what Jesus was sending me to Lebanon for, to save these people, to use my connection with Khalil to set them free. But I did not understand how or when or why. I just saw the image and then it faded. And I was back in my bedroom on my knees on the floor with Jesus standing over me. He placed his hand on my head. I felt warmth flood through my entire body. I felt the emptiness that had lived inside me for 60 years suddenly start to drain away. It was being replaced by something else. Something I had no name for. Peace, joy, love, all of it at once. I started to cry. Not quiet tears, but deep sobs that shook my whole body. I cried for all the wasted years. I cried for all the people I had hurt. I cried for the emptiness I had carried. And I cried because for the first time in my life I felt seen. I felt known. I felt loved, not because of my name, not because of my rank, not because of anything I had done, but simply because I existed, simply because Jesus wanted me. He said one more thing before the vision ended. He said, I love you, Hassan. I died for you. I rose for you. And now I'm calling you to follow me. Leave everything behind. Come to me, and I will give you rest. The light began to fade. The presence began to withdraw. I looked up and the corner of my room was empty again, dark again, normal again. But I was not normal. I would never be normal again. I sat on the floor of my bedroom as the sun started to rise over Tehran. And I knew my life as Hassan Khamenei, Brigadier General of the IRGC, was over. Jesus had called me, and I was going to obey. The morning after Jesus appeared to me, I woke up on the floor of my bedroom. My body was stiff from lying on the hard surface. My face was swollen from crying. For a moment I thought maybe it had all been a dream. Maybe I had fallen asleep and my tired mind had created the whole thing. But then I felt it. The peace, the fullness, the presence that was still there inside my chest. It was real. All of it was real. Jesus had come to me. He had spoken to me. He had called me to leave everything and go to Lebanon. And I knew without any doubt that I was going to obey.